The dream of a faithful Archeage 2 was just taken to the back of the barn and then shot. And the developers buried what was the corpse and then replaced it with something called Archeage Chronicles. So if you've been holding out hope that this was just a simple name change, well, let me tell you right now, it'd be best to stop that train of thought. During a recent investor call, XL Games confirmed that Chronicles is not an MMORPG at all, but instead is this online action RPG, which you could say is kind of like Crimson Desert, but gonna be online. Well, they're building a console action game that just happens to have a chat box, features lock-on combat, well, lock-on action combat, I must say, and a more PvE solo-friendly design, while stripping away the large-scale PvP that we loved. But hey, not all hope is gone. I know I started a little negative, but there is some kind of semblance of light here. Buried in that same financial report is a mystery title called Project X7. It's a new project and it's targeted for 2027. But as you know, with Archeage, I wouldn't expect it till maybe Q4 of that year. Not even that year, let's just say 2028. Let's begin. So, Archeage Chronicles, the game that many believe to be the spiritual successor to Archeage, the original, well, it's not. The XL Games investor presentation explicitly labels it as an online action RPG. Now, they've been saying this for a while, we just were like in denial and just coping. And this was not a typo or some weird translation error, as people like to believe. They chose those words deliberately because they know an MMORPG and an online action RPG are two completely different things. Now, the combat tells you everything that you need to know about their new direction. Lately, we've been getting kind of blessed by their X account with a bunch of raw combat footage, which I do admit is kind of brave coming from the developer. Many just shudder at the thought of showing alpha footage because, people are kind of stupid and they always judge as a finished product, They're like, hey, this looks like trash, but hey, it's just alpha, bro. Now, the combat is lock-on action, as I previously said, and you kind of focus on parrying, dodging, blocking, kind of like a Souls-like game, instead of the classic hybrid tap target that Archeage used to have. While the old game had over 120 class combinations, we had those 3 branches and it just combined into a class. Well, Chronicles seems to just feature the classic trinity so far, right? Because we don't really know for sure at this point. And they'll just come with a dodge roll and a more controller-friendly moveset. You can kind of tell on the UI. Well, any way you look at it, it seems Chronicles is one of those games that's just been designed for consoles first. And you can feel that massive shift in every decision that they've taken so far. Open world PvP has been removed, I would say, completely, and it's been replaced by opt-in zones called Battlegrounds. So if you were looking to be like a ganker either land or sea, well, you're just shit out of luck, because that is just not how this game works. The developers had confirmed that solo progression along with a smooth onboarding are core pillars. Their focus will be primarily PvE content. So far, we know it'll have dungeons with kind of like a caravan defense, kind of new PvE mode kind of implemented. Again, I'm not sure, they haven't shown us much. But the multiplayer aspect will simply be co-op with friends or randoms or whoever you want to be. And again, I must say, take everything with a grain of salt because nothing is confirmed at this point. Trait runs, as I just mentioned, will still exist technically, but everything points out that they will now function through scripted NPC interactions instead of, like a player created danger. You're just out there with your farm wagon and you get attacked. Not gonna happen this time around. If you played Archeage, you remember the terror of crossing the ocean with a fully loaded merchant ship. Heck, even worse, when you had your fishing boat full of marlins. Now, bro, you did not want to get caught by red. Your heart rate would slowly elevate while you scan the horizon for any red boats, and boom, you saw him. You heard the stealth off. Pirates. Well, Chronicles replaces all that rush with what seems to be like a guided tour in the Grand Museum of Archeage. Now let's talk a little bit about housing. Everything again is pointing to like an instance housing system, which, okay, I mean, that's it even if it exists. There won't be any kind of land rush, and you won't be waking up at 3 a.m. to grab a land plot that is about to expire, only to have a scripter just come out of nowhere, heck, not even be there, and just steal it from you. It seems Chronicles at its very core is just a simplified console action game, not a living sandbox. So again, get that idea out of your head. It's not a true successor to Archeage. It's just using the IP for like another game. It's not looking bad, honestly. But hey, let me move on to better news. I know. I said there was some good news. Not everything is doom and gloom, folks. I mean, people do like it, but not everything is that. Now, on that same investor report, there were some weird names there. There was something called Project X7. And the description is that it was the true successor to Archeage. Their words, not mine. And they're calling it an actual faithful successor, which explains why they 180'd on Chronicles being Archeage 2. You know, it was for a while, it was that, and then they changed it to no, it's now Archeage Chronicles. Now, the current plan is to release this third quarter of 2027, but it's fast approaching, so I doubt it. I would again put it at Q4. Heck, even Q1 2028. They're delaying everything, you know, in the industry right now, so it's on par with that. So the current plan is for Chronicles to release in the third quarter of 2027, which I honestly doubt because we haven't heard anything. So I would say Q4 or even 2028 Q1, which would put Project X7 that they're targeting for a 2027 release like a year after. Again, like Q4 2027, but hey, it might just be 2028 all over again. And so far, Project X7 is supposed to be a PC exclusive, so you won't see any compromises for consoles or controller limitations or simplifications like you just witnessed in Archeage Chronicles. They're building this for us, the PC players, the very same people who kept their servers alive and running through every single pay-to-win disaster. And publisher change, you know, let's not forget that over the years there was a lot of publisher changes. Although to be fair, I'm pretty sure the whales contributed a little bit more than all of us. You know, these motherfuckers were spending 20, 30 grand easily. I heard of 100 grand and plus, but hey man, I hope that's fake. Now, according to the report, X7 is designed to inherit the sandboxy mechanics that made the original game a fan favorite. We're talking about some open world PvP, an economy driven by players, allegedly enable combat, but you know, every game says that and then we don't really get it, or we get it like way later in the game. So hey, I'm not holding hope for any of that. And actual land ownership. So far, the only thing that they confirm is that it's gonna be running on Unreal Engine 5 with an actual MMORPG focus, but yeah, about that Unreal 5, I don't know, bruh. But hey, hopefully they kind of like make it better, optimize. Oh, there is one little detail that might make it or break it to you. The spiritual successor to Archeage will supposedly have isometric view, similar, you know, to Lost Ark or Albion Online. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I mean, I've played a lot of Albion and I played Lost Ark, but I'm not sure it kind of like meshes with Archeage. But hey, they can always surprise us, I guess. Which, again, you know, when I mentioned naval combat, this will affect it for sure. I don't even know how they can do it in an isometric view. So what we're seeing here is Exo Games is kind of hedging their bets on the future of the franchise. Chronicles is meant to kind of like cash in on the casual market, you know, consoles, PC gaming, action game, RPG, and, you know, people that never even touched the original game, that got no idea what Archeage is. The casuals, even more casual than the casuals. And then X7 is gonna drop back to bring us a lifeline to the veterans who've been complaining since the very first Thunderstruck tree kind of just showed up in the cache randomly. Well, they gave us what, like a one-day heads up, and then boom. They aren't completely abandoning the hardcore audience, but they're definitely making us wait for that extra year while Chronicles pays the bills. Oh, and if you think I'm just blowing hot air on the whole isometric view being a thing, well, pay attention to this video, because they kind of showed it last year. A lot of people were asking like, what the heck is this, man? And apparently that's Project X7. Soon to change his name, by the way. So is X7 actually the real deal then? Well, all I can recommend my fellow plebeians, farmers, gankers, is that we wait and see. As I'm not about to get hyped up again for like the 10th, maybe 20th time, without anything concrete. I've been burned way too many times at this point to fall for that again, aka a la Ashes of Creation. Now, let's talk about Project X7 and what it's got to get right. And I mean no compromises, no modernizing, and no trying to cater to everyone. Because why are you going to cater to people that didn't want a sandbox? You're going to alienate your other audience for nothing. That would make the game a whole low or nothing burger that caters to no one and everybody at the same time, which people don't like that. So first on the list, man, I cannot reiterate naval combat. I love ocean PvP. The ocean was the soul of Archeage. Just look at what happened to the original game once they killed high seas trading. There was no reason to go at all at the ocean. And fishing was gone as well. The seas were literally dead. Not even pirates would roam them. The only people that were out there were those killing the Leviathan or the Kraken, and that's it, bro. That terror of crossing the ocean into the unknown was the experience. And Chronicles are replacing all of that with battlegrounds and scripted encounters, so X7 needs to do the opposite. If I can't build a galleon in X7, then the game's already failed to me. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's it. That's one primero that you need. Second, let's talk about land. Now, I do agree that, sometimes instance systems can be good, but I do like it when we can actually own something. Ownership makes scarcity, and scarcity makes it worth something. And now, I'm not saying the original system was perfect, but it did at least make your house be valuable, and it was even integral to the world and the economy. What other game does that? And let's not forget the land rushes. Who didn't miss that? I love land rushes. When the servers were working right and you could actually get past the Q monster. But hey, you missed the first one? Don't worry, Aurora had you covered for the second one. And the third one, and anytime a castle would, open up territory. So far in Chronicles, we already know that it's going to be kind of, if there even is housing, again, because they haven't confirmed much about it, it's going to be instance for sure. It's not going to be open world. And again, X7 needs to do the opposite. You kind of start seeing the pattern. You need to have players fight over every single square inch, because it's something that comes free. It's gone easily, man. You don't even value it. The game needs a player-driven economy, where supply chains, trade routes actually mean something. The original game was alive with trade, like on land, on sea, on air. The original Archeage would let you interact with the world itself in an economical way. You could plant trees on the roads, the mountains, basically everywhere that you could look at. You could craft gear from the lowest levels to the highest levels, and you would sell this on an auction house that just wasn't a glorified vendor. Just don't do the Throne of Liberty auction house, cause that shit will kill it within the first week. No thank you, sir. I don't even know why I gave that game a chance. I guess I was that desperate. There needs to be a reward and risk system. If you can just walk away from your computer during a trade run a la Black Desert Online style, then I'm sorry, but it's not a real trade run. The original game made you sweat bullets while you even plan your routes. Heck, even if you brought scouts along with you, you could be scouting a zone away, and these motherfuckers will still be stealthing, following the whole time like they weren't there. Number 5 is to bring back the class depth. Provided, by that system of over 120 combinations. Do you know why Ashes of Creation got so much traction? Well, because it was trying to surpass the class depth of the original Archeage. People love that. They don't want to be stuck just in a trinity with no further depth other than, oh, I cast Fireball and that's it, bro. No. We don't want a watered down trinity. That's just designed to be played on the controller. We got a lot of games already doing that. Plenty of those fish on the Z. You had classes that, they weren't supposed to work and they would somehow kick your ass. No tank or support was the same. You could build something uniquely yours. Chronicles, again, it's just giving us action combat with a handful of abilities because that's what works on a gamepad. That's what works on a controller. So X7 has to bring back the deep skill trees, the theory crafting, and the depth. I cannot understate that. That'll keep the community alive for years. trust me. And for the grand finale, in my opinion, what we need in X7 is, again, think about it, massive PvP battles. And I want some battle that feature hundreds of players at once. I know if Throne of Liberty could do it, I don't see why these guys can't. I don't want these 20-man raids pretending they're fighting a war. A war for what? A war for ants? The original game had massive castle sieges and naval blockades. Let's not forget the Aurora Wars that would just crash the servers, because let's say the whole server showed up on Aurora, like what, 8,000 people at the time, everything was just like static, you couldn't even move. Chronicles is kneecapping that massive battle for performance, accessibility, etc, console, Jurgle. But X7 needs to push the limits. If I can watch over 500 players collide on the battlefield and then the frame rate just crashed to 0, then I'm not playing Archeage. And I'm not sure I want to play that. Every single feature that I've talked about is what defined what the original game was. Each and every one of those have been tossed aside by Chronicles, except I guess for gliding. We do have gliding, guys, that is confirmed, they just put a video up for that. Well, now to sum it all up, Chronicles is just like a 2026 distraction, and it looks a pretty good game. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like a good action game. But it's focused on people who never played the original, and they don't know what they're missing. Project X will be in 2027, hopefully, but don't hold your hopes again. It's gonna be like 2028. And that's what you actually want to play, if you want to return to the original Archeage experience. That is, if you're willing to stomach the isometric view. Hopefully it's not true, but so far, yes. XL Games has one last chance, or again, the one last try. Are you gonna skip Chronicles? Are you just gonna mark your calendar for 2027, stay tuned to see what happens? Which I'm guessing pretty much everybody would do that. Personally, I would give Chronicles a try, but just go in with different expectations. Don't think this is the original Archeage, because it's not. And then, we still gotta wait for Project X7 and see what they do with it. But hey, we got a lot of games coming up. You got Chrono Odyssey, you got Ion 2, you got Guild Wars 3, which I think it's gonna be next year. So you have plenty to keep you busy in the meantime. Well, what do you think, folks? Let me know in the comments. If you like my content, help me out with a subscribe and a like. You have no idea how much this helps me out. The likes help me with the algorithm, subscribes just, confident boost. And hopefully with the algorithm too. I really have no idea how it works in YouTube, honestly. Well, hasta la vista, baby. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day.